Okay, well,
I'll show you how to get to it after this.
two, one.
Hi, welcome to another exciting edition of Color Me Poetry. Today, this is Danny Queen, poet Danny Queen, if you will, and we have an exciting guest here with us today, in person of a Gemini, and her name is Asha, and she's a poet, and she's a heck of an artist. She's been doing this for a long time. Welcome to the Color Me Poetry system.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Good. You happen to be a Gemini.
I am. All of us are here today, but all the good ones, all good people.
How many are here though?
There's a few of us in
Oh,
here.
Lord.
I'm adaptable.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know our president is a Gemini. There's a whole lot of them.
I am not him.
If we had one at a time, we could be better in the country. But
yeah, I'm not him.
It's all good. But yes, tell us about yourself and your writing. How long you been writing?
Yes.
And how did you get into writing?
Yes. So I started writing as a child, born and raised in church.
Oh, wow.
Both
Okay.
of my parents were, we went to church regularly, so I grew up doing Easter poems and.
You were the PK, were you?
I actually, both of my parents are ministers.
Oh, come on, tell the truth. You're the PK now. Let's start there.
Definitely.
Okay.
So I started writing more in middle school.
Mhm.
So I battled depression for a couple of years.
Really?
I had a teacher that gave me Ntozake Shing's book
Wow.
for colored girls who
Yeah.
considered suicide.
How old were you
Rainbow
then when
Went
she
Up.
gave you that
I
book?
was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already in theater and doing some things with poetry, but other people's poems.
Now give us that title again, because I'm sorry. I think I
Yeah,
cut
for
you.
colored girls who considered suicide when the rainbow isn't enough.
Mm.
And that book changed my life because it really put my born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago. So it put my life, Chi-Town, it put my life into perspective because I actually got to see, one, I wasn't alone, and two, there are people who are facing things that are much more intense than anything I could imagine.
Wow.
So it helped me process some things.
That book was major in your life.
So that and
Yeah.
a journal combination.
And you actually got a chance to see her, you were
I
telling me.
did.
Tell us about it.
Oh my goodness. It was a beautiful moment because the week before Nikki Giovanni was at Busboys and Poets, and I went to go see her, and the room was packed. Line around the corner. It was beautiful. Ego tripping. Oh my goodness. And then in the middle of that week, I actually had my book launch. So I was at a Busboys and Poets, and so when I went to the website, I saw myself between two artists that I really have always revered. And then Ntozake Shing's event was the week after. So went there, and I was actually surprised at how few people were in the room.
Really?
Yeah, there weren't a lot of people in the room. And then I actually got to give her a copy of my book. I took pictures with her. I told her the story of, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I told her the story of how my teacher had given me a copy of her book, and it changed my perspective, and I started writing.
Wow.
She gave me the advice to write every day, and don't edit for other people, because I can tend to be a perfectionist. So I have taken her advice.
She said don't edit for other people.
And I love it because if you've ever read anything by her, she spells stuff like she wants to spell it.
Yeah.
It's ENUF. It's, and I love that about her. She's herself. So I really enjoyed that opportunity, got to take pictures with her. And then unfortunately, that Saturday, we were talking about doing things. I'd invited her to come out and meet my mentoring group. And she made her transition that weekend. And it was a spiritual experience.
That was last year?
That was last year.
Yeah, I thought that was last year.
That was last year. Yeah, last year was a year.
Always a martyr.
Last year was a year.
Wasn't there a movie a couple years ago?
There was, yeah, Tyler Perry, and that's the
Tyler
book.
Perry's movie,
Tyler Perry redid, and someone asked her about
Yes.
that. Tyler Perry did
I saw that.
movie rendition of For Color Girls,
Yeah.
and I found that interesting. I think he did a Tyler Perry version of it.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed it.
because I knew a lot of the pieces
From the original.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So who else is it in terms of poetry that you, in terms of literature period, that you admire?
Oh yes.
Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison.
Oh,
That was I cried.
Another great
when
one we
she
just
passed.
lost.
Her book, The
Oh,
Bluest
man.
Eye.
Yes, that's the early book for you.
That's the early book
Yeah.
for me. And that book, actually,
Songs of
I've read a
Solomon.
few. The Wedding was a good one. I had any Toni Morrison book I've ever read, I've had to read more than once. So
because she makes you work.
She makes you work, and I
That's
love
right.
that about her because school wasn't necessarily challenging for me.
Mhm.
So for me to find books and things, I was a bookworm. I walked across the street, reading a book, and I just always had my favorite.
Now we walk across the street with a cell
With a
phone in our
cell
hand.
But a lot of the times I'm still reading on my book.
Yeah.
I mean on my phone. So I do a lot of reading.
Right.
But yeah, Toni Morrison was definitely one. And Bluest Eye actually helped me explore some colorism issues that I had in my childhood because I grew up in a neighborhood that didn't look like me.
So how did that book make you feel? I mean, what did you just think of the title?
I understood it. I really understood it, and I understood the character. I understood the desire to not look like what you look like.
Wow.
I did, because as a little girl, my elementary school, I think I was the only African American girl in my classroom for
really?
several years. My family, my parents were the 12th African American family to move to Oak Park, Illinois, which is one of the most diverse communities in Illinois. But
I don't have to ask you how that made you feel, because we all know that feeling.
And it made me feel like, interestingly enough, for a long time I didn't realize I was black.
Really?
Because young
She
children,
don't think about
they don't know.
Yeah,
they don't know you're black, you're not black.
Yeah.
They don't know
Yeah.
until hair comes up
It's interesting because
or
this
something.
this friend of mine, Anna, what's Anna's? I can think of her last name. She does this play, and she's from Ghana, and she does this play where she says, "I'm black." That's the name of the play. She says she had to come to America and be here 20-some years to realize she was black.
That's it.
Because back home she was just African, and she wasn't black.
That's it, and that's the difference. America will definitely let you know that you are.
But no
black.
uncertain terms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I oftentimes I hear black people say, "Well, I didn't know I was poor."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know I was poor though.
And you know what's interesting? I saw a post the other day that asked me what class I grew up in. And I know we weren't a wealthy family. I didn't realize how affluent the neighborhood that I grew up in was. My father was an educator.
Okay.
My mother was a secretary for several years, and then then she became a stay-at-home mom. We didn't have a lot, and then he was a pastor, so we didn't have a lot.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have 2 biological sisters. So I'm a Gemini in between 2 Sagittarians.
Oh boy.
So my
that's rough.
older sister Cersei, and then my baby sister Tabitha, and then when I was in middle school, I call him my brother cousin, came to live with us. Both of his parents had passed, and so my parents adopted him. So I gained a little brother who acts like a big brother. He doesn't know he's younger than me. We're a year apart.
He's protective.
He's very protective. So those are my biological siblings. But God has blessed me with people who are family. Had a lot of god sisters and brothers. Because my parents were pastors, I learned early that I would have to share them, and I was okay with it. So I have a lot of god sisters and brothers that, walk in the door without keys. They were family. So
Wow, that's beautiful. Now let's talk about your books.
Yeah.
How did your books come about? Let's talk about the first one here in front of me.
Yeah. So I have 3.
Okay.
Transfer Please is the first book, and
what's it about?
All 3 books I published last year.
Oh, in 1 year.
In 1 year, my
So
mom.
you on a roll.
Yeah, my mom passed. So last year was a hectic year. I lost my job in February, my mom in March, and then I had a horrible heartbreak in August.
Oh wow.
And so I decided to take my year back by actually finishing the project of publishing my first book. And my mother before she was transitioning, she was kind of going in and out a little bit. And she asked me, Asha, where's the book? She asked me, "Where's the book?" Or, pass me the book, something of that nature. And in that moment, I knew I needed to give her the book. Right after my birthday, I woke up one morning and called my publishers, and I'm like, I think I'm ready. And called them, was talking to them a little bit. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up with another story, and I wrote my mother into the book. She's the last story in that book. And then when I had my book signing, my nieces and nephews, some biological, some sociological, said, "Auntie Asha, you wrote a book for grown-ups?" Because I'm a child at heart. I'm most comfortable around children. Children are my purpose and my passion.
Why children?
Because they're real. Like children, you can't fake in front of. If you're a good person, a child will know it. If you're not, a child is going to know it. Yeah. So then these books came out of that. So this is a poem that I wrote for my nieces and nephews called "You Are So Beautiful." And this is a book of affirmations that they read to themselves called "I Am So Beautiful."
Now we're going to get you to a reading, but since you've been talking about children, and children are close to my heart, I'd like to share this poem here, and it's simply entitled, "Because I'm Special." Because I'm special, I have my sense of self, and it's not for sale. I know who I am, and I refuse to fail. The power of I am is my mind's master key, for the way of the will is a life force in you and me. The sacred source of all life's wealth is simply in how you look at yourself. Because I'm special, I know who I am, I've got the power to succeed, and in the spirit of faith, I've got all that I need. A blessing in disguise as evidence of things not seen is a secret of success and the seed of self-esteem. Because I am that I am, there's no way I can let myself down. Hang up in setbacks are only stepping stones to higher ground. Because I'm special. I love my sense of self, and it's not for sale. I know who I am, and I refuse to fail just because I'm special.
Actually, yes.
For children.
Yes, I think that, and that does go with "So Beautiful." So I can tell you a little bit. I'll do a little bit. I'll show you the pictures in this one too. Actually, I don't know which direction to go.
Now just hold it.
Yeah. So this has real children in it, and it was important to me that the faces are recognizable. That their hair textures are accurate, that you can actually see their faces and their skin colors, because when I'm telling you that you're beautiful, you need to see that you are, and so I really wanted any child that reads the book to see
images
themselves in it. So I'll do a little bit from it. So you are so beautiful simply because you're you. I love you on your good days and your not so good ones too. I love that you are who you are. I love to watch you grow. The more you grow into yourself, the more your natural beauty shows. Baby, I hope you hear me when I tell you, you are beautiful just the way you are. You are something special, and your personality shines just like a star. So that's part of it. And then I go on to say things like, you are enough, love your skin, love your hair. All those type of things are in here, because I think it's important for young people and children to know that they don't have to change themselves to be something different than who they are.
Because, oftentimes we got to go through these changes, but you change your hair, you change this, you change that, Sometimes, I don't know, I guess sometimes to fit in, And let me compliment your hair is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I like to keep it big. I feel
and you're natural.
I am. That was a transition in itself. I'm working on that piece. I have a piece that's going to come out from that. About being natural, because it was it was partially a conscious decision and partially not. I moved here from Chicago, and it's just humid here. I found myself relaxing my hair every 3 weeks.
Really?
And it was hard. Different. Yeah, it was hard for me to keep my hair straight. And then eventually I just started playing around. I would go longer and longer and longer. And the more I got into the culture here on the East Coast, I started seeing that there were more products, more people, more places that embraced being natural.
Yes.
And that it was something I could do. I used to have a braiding business, so I was able to, just kind of transition it. So I love when my hair is free. I feel comfortable.
This particular poem I'm going to share with, and you can respond to it if you like. But it's about hair also.
Okay.
From a different perspective. And it's simply entitled "The Black Korean," the business of black hair. They say you had no beauty to behold, but the big bucks in black beauty is black gold. As the talk of the town, simply second to none, sisters spend their last dime to get their due done. Those who capitalize on and supply synthetic hair own and dominate black beauty everywhere. To survive, we got to do what we must when black hair has made everybody rich but us. We spend billions yearly to keep our do-razors sharp, and we don't even own the stores where we shop. But I don't blame them, but I do fault us for not working together in love and mutual trust. Our hunger for hair to them is not unknown, because we wear everybody's hair but our own. But the Korean could not control the care of black hair if we, the black consumer, didn't take our money there. If we don't plan our work and work our plan, those who do capitalize on the supply and demand. If we know, Koreans know, a sister's hair is a crown, so they take the money home when the sun go down. The black Korean.
Yes, that is so true. I have a piece called American Love Story that kind of goes with that. I think we were talking about being in America and that, so I'll do that piece. I should have known you never truly loved me by the way you treated me differently in public than in private. Secretly fascinated by my curves, the insensual sway of my hips, my kinky hair, and the soothing soul in my voice and the fullness of my lips. For a very long time, you've considered me more property than family, and no matter how much I've cooked for you, cleaned up after you, nursed your children, built your economy, inspired your art, giving you rhythm, and poured out my blues, lately, I find it challenging to pledge my allegiance to you, to call you great or beautiful or feel like you are a safe place for me to be loved. I don't feel at home with you. I've tried to love you, but you've made it clear that you'll never love me back. You see my differences as weakness, but what you haven't realized is that I've learned that I cannot love you fully because you were never meant for me to love. You're comfortable around me when I'm entertainment. It's cool when I sing and dance for you because you're more a pimp than a companion. Soaking up every good thing you can for me until I start to believe you when you say I'm ugly, even though you've trained your daughters to emulate everything about me and claim it as their own. I should have known that this could never be love when you brought me to you, stole my crown, took my name, gave me yours, and brainwashed me to surrender everything I knew of myself as if this were a marriage, a partnership, and not enslavement. As if the marks you left on my body weren't enough, or the strange fruit you picked regularly wasn't a warning or foreshadowing for where our relationship stands now. It's like the holes you left in our history keep me lost. You want me to forget who I am, what I'm capable of, that I was greatness before you entered into my life. I should have known that this can't be love. You left my sons lying bloody in the streets. You funneled drugs and disease through my loved ones and then violently ripped them away from me, incarcerating their love, leaving me to single-handedly build communities. You make it clear that I am too melanated to be your sweetheart, that my curls and kinks make you uncomfortable around me. Unless straightened and relaxed and tamed like you want me to behave, you can't truly admire my beauty. I should have known that this wasn't love when you belittled me and treated me violently in public. You almost made me forget that I am beautiful, that I am magic, that I should be proud because I am black, not in spite of it. See, the next time I have to remind you that I matter, I will remind myself that you never cared. I will accept your silence for what it is and allow how you feel about me to make me better, not bitter. Use my anger for change and reclaim what is mine, because one day, America, you will give me what I'm due. You never truly loved me because I was never truly yours. You'll never understand me, accept me, respect me, unless you can change me, and you can. So let's just admit that this was never a love story.
Wow. In other words, stop lying.
Stop lying. Stop lying. As we say in Shy, you ain't got to lie to kick it.
Stop lying.
Stop lying.
Well, if you tell one lie, you got to tell two. Then before you know it, lying is second nature to you. When there's no foundation of truth on which to stand, living a lovable lie is like walking on quicksand. And there ain't no way naked truth can ever fly. on the wings of a well-dressed lie. A lie told in the truth is not something you can defend, because truth crushed the earth will always come up again. So let the truth be your guide in your lust to tell a lie, and you will find that you can stop it if you try. For if you lie to yourself, you'll lie to any and everybody else. And there ain't no way naked truth can ever fly on the wings of a well-dressed lie. Because if you tell one lie, you got to tell two. Then before you know it, lying is second nature to you. Stop lying.
Yes.
You know anybody who lie?
Oh, yeah.
I got cousins and relatives. I ain't lying. You know they lying.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I think the biggest lie people tell us to themselves.
Yes.
I think a lot of the times we'll say things like, I'm okay, and that's a huge lie.
Anything
that
but
we
okay.
tend to tell. They're not okay. Everything is not okay. They need some help or need some support, and a lot of the times we don't even ask for it. So I think one of the goals with the Transfer Please book is to allow people to do some self-reflection. I think so the book is really about people watching. Yeah. So it's really about people watching. It's really about
that's this one?
That's that one. It's really about paying attention.
Let's hold that up so we can get a shot at that.
It's about paying attention to your surroundings, knowing what's going on with you. And so it's kind of the story of a young lady who ends up taking public transportation unexpectedly.
Oh, wow.
And so she journals and starts writing stories about people. And it's people that are familiar, people that you may or may not have seen before. Thank you. So yeah, the cover was designed by Art Addicts. We actually won a Cover of the Month award October last year.
Wow.
African American sister, extremely talented.
Yeah.
She did a phenomenal
Now let's talk about the other books and the covers also, because the covers are just striking.
Yes. So these books. I'm So Beautiful. And so if you look at the covers, one of the things that was important was, especially in the word soul, you can see almost every complexion represented in the book. So a child can kind of look at the book and see themselves in the wording. And then I wanted you to know it was a black book without saying it was a black book, so we put the red, black, and green.
Yes.
And this was designed by a company called Sutin Kim Productions, and so they do graphic designs. Also a black-owned company, local DC.
Really? Oh wow, beautiful. Yeah, we want to give them some play as well. Now let's talk about the cover.
Yeah. And the same thing with this one. So this started out as a baby book.
Let's hold it up.
It started out as a baby book. So I originally had a baby in here, and then when my nieces and nephews saw it, they said, "I'm not a baby. Why you got me in the baby book?"
Well, you was a baby.
They weren't. So went back and changed the production because I really wanted to produce something that they were proud of as well. I wanted it to not just be something I was proud of, but I wanted it to be our book. And so there's African Adinkra symbols on the cover of both books. And this, if you're not familiar with African Adinkra symbols, they're symbols in tribes, mostly in Ghana. I have one tattooed. They all have meanings. I have one. I have the Jinyame tattooed on my shoulder.
Yes, I have them all. In fact, I had a guest on about a couple of months ago. He does these. He does wood carvings, and he done all these Adinkra symbols. And then when he sells them in a little bag, and then he has the meaning to each one on a card in there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, I need to
you gotta go back
because in the back of this book, the chart is in here. So the goal is really
let's see that chart.
Yeah, there's Adinkra
symbols.
Back on us.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Adinkra symbols on every page.
Wow.
So it kind of encourages children to go back and get a little bit into their culture, and then
that's important that we use those symbols continually.
Yeah, so they can actually look up and see what they mean and pick one that relates to them.
Instead of wearing Mickey Mouse on a T-shirt,
absolutely,
wear some Adinkra stuff, something that means something.
And that's what the Sutin Kim company, and that's actually why I decided to go with them to design the cover, because they actually have a clothing line of African masks.
Oh wow!
And
that's beautiful. That's
symbols.
Unique.
Yeah, something different.
So
we really want to make sure we keep the culture, keep history, keep legacy going.
Now I want you to do another reading, but I also want you to read the piece that you did for your mother. Can you do that?
Yeah. So I have a piece.
At some point.
Yeah. I actually wrote a piece for my grandmother.
Okay.
So let me see.
And it's entitled.
The last time I got my hands dirty.
Okay, you got it?
I got it. All right, so.
The last time I got my hands dirty.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that
wow,
actually,
what a
let me tell
title.
you a little bit about how
Yeah.
this came about. So I have a friend, actually, and this is kind of neat. I can call her Dr. Rebecca Dupas. She's actually a poet in this community. Just finished her dissertation this week, or defending her doctorate, so she's officially a doctor. But she does a thing twice a year where she does writing prompts. She encourages artists to join a group on Facebook, and we do different writing prompts. And so the one in October of last year, I believe it's either October or April,
Okay.
which is National Poetry Awareness Month, twice a
Yes,
year. We do the 30 for 30, and one of the writing prompts was the last time I got my hands dirty. And so I started this piece in the group, and then just found myself keep working it. And a couple months ago, no, last month, it actually changed meanings for me because we finalized my mother's headstone, which was a different, in the grieving process, there are stages. So the day that my mother's headstone, like I got a picture of my sister and my dad going to visit her place, and I actually saw the picture. I realized that this piece actually relates to her as well now. So it's taken on a little bit of a different meaning the last couple months. So I may continue to work it, but I'll
No, but
share
it's
with you.
great how you weaved all that together.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so the last time I got my hands dirty. Grandma used to check for dirt under our nails. Said nobody likes a young lady with dirty nails. But I had an insatiable addiction to making mud pies. My Chicago blood craved the patrimony in the Mississippi red clay. The creaminess of the soil when laced with water felt like silk on my youthful brown skin. Often chastised for leaving traces through my cornrows. They called it mischievous. Maybe I was connecting, conjuring the African blood, paying sacred homage to the Himba people somewhere in my bloodstream. I've always liked being close to nature. They called me a tomboy. I know I was finding God. The last time I got my hands dirty was this summer, when we visited my grandmother, found the place where she is resting underneath the red clay that holds so many of my childhood memories. We spent time carefully cleaning off the headstone, introduced her to her great-great-grandchildren. They used sticks and rags and water bottles. I used my nails, secretly wishing that she would scold me again for being unladylike. Let the red soil harden under my nail bed in a private protest, wipe tears with my wrist, knowing I'd never hear her voice again. I washed those soiled memories from my nails, and I've kept them clean ever since.
Oh, wow. How beautiful.
Thank you.
How beautiful. Touching.
Thank you.
Very touching. The winds of intuition. It is as much a part of life as flesh, blood, and bone. It is the inner essence of self that won't leave you alone. It is the pure knowing of the voice within that will lead, teach, and guide you over and over again. The wisdom of intuition will push you above and beyond to do the right thing when you would the wrong. Intuition is the wisdom of the spirit divine, the language of the soul, the calling of the higher mind. The truth of who you are at heart will make you whole. For there's inner foresight that speaks from the soul. So what's unexplained or unseen don't mean unreal. Intuition is the spirit and faith in what you feel. It helps us all to change, learn, and grow in truth beyond what we feel we know. The wisdom of intuition will push you above and beyond to do the right thing when you would the wrong.
Yes.
The wings of intuition.
Oh, that's so true. That is so true. I think a lot of the times I've learned intuition to be multiple things. I've learned it. I've had the pleasure of going on a journey with my relationship with God the last few years, and it's changed and evolved in a lot of different ways. And I think the really neat part is I've learned to find God in nature. I've learned to find God in prayer, in scripture, in people.
Yeah,
and
I
all
wait for
kind
you
of
to say
stuff.
people.
Yeah, and even
I haven't had issue with that one, the people, because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
But then, you know what? A lot of the times, I think that like even interesting, like when I was going through the stuff with my job and things were changing and evolving, and I felt like they told me I wasn't a good communicator. They told me I wasn't a good writer. They told me that I didn't fit the corporate environment, that I was too passionate. And so it's interesting because all of those things within that same year, God took those things and turned them into books and workshop opportunities. I mentor young ladies. I speak. I write for a living now, where so I had to learn that even the person that wrote that was something that God could use to make me better. That in that moment, I could get mad and I can get frustrated, or I could see it as God working something out in me and saying, you know what, honey, it's time for you to fly. And so
You're
that's
not going to communicate. You stand here, you just communicated all of that.
But sometimes, you know what I've also learned. I mentor young ladies, and I have found that the number one thing that is your passion or purpose is probably the place where something or someone is going to attack you.
Wow.
So if you are people who are struggling with confidence issues, and that's actually something I deal with in my business and in mentoring, I find that the one thing that they're trying to work something out in you, and a lot of the times people don't know that that's what they're doing. So if you are someone who has problems with your skin or your complexion, that maybe that's the one place where you should pour the most love, because something about that, maybe you're supposed to do a skincare line, maybe you're supposed to model. There's a story about a young lady, what's her name, Karis. I love it because she is traveling and all over the world, and it started out as bullying. Somebody called her ugly in class, and this little girl is absolutely, strikingly beautiful.
Wow.
But that was where she was attacked. So she could have cowered back and let that break her. But instead, they took it, they molded, and they made something beautiful. And I love that, those type of stories.
I love those stories too because they're so encouraging. And you never know how people are going to take stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Pieces that I want to read, but I want to dedicate this piece. It's not a piece that I wrote. Actually, it's by James Allen and George Clinton. And I love this piece. I know my engineer knows a little something about George.
Okay, a little something.
But this is a very encouraging piece for people who feel the way, that some of us sometimes do when it comes to encouragement. Some encouragement, get to know yourself.
Yes.
So it's entitled Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts. Travel like a king. Listen to the inner voice. A high wisdom is at work for you. Conquering the stumbling blocks come easier when the conqueror is in tune with the infinite. Every ending is a new beginning. Life is an endless unfoldment. Change your mind and you change your relation to time. You can find the answer. The solution lies within the problem. The answer is in every question, and attitude is all you need to rise and walk away. Inspire yourself. Your life is yours. It fits you like your skin. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The giant aquarius sleeps in this tiny seed. The bird waits in the egg. God waits for his unfoldment in man. You gravitate to that which you secretly love most. You meet in life the exact reproduction of your own thoughts. There is no chance, coincidence, or accident in a world ruled by law and divine order. You rise as high as your dominant aspiration. You descend to the level of your lowest concept of yourself. The infinite intelligence within you knows the answer. Its nature is to respond to your thoughts. Be careful of the thought seeds you plant in the garden of your mind, for seeds grow after their kind. Every thought felt as true, allowed to be accepted as true by your conscious mind, take root in your subconscious, blossoms sooner or later into an act and bears its own fruit. Good thoughts will bring forth good fruit. Bad thoughts will rot your flesh. Think right and you can fly. The kingdom of heaven is within.
Yes, I have I have a saying in my business that says the words that we use are seeds that we plant. So the way that I explain affirmations and speaking positively to children is exactly that. You plant a seed, you say a word, and it's literally like planting a seed. So if you say something positive, you plant that seed, and if you water that seed is grow. I am beautiful, I am amazing, I am brave, I can handle this, I'm enough, I love my skin, I love my hair, I am loved, my family loves me, my teacher wants me to thrive. If you say those type of things, then that's what you're going to have. But when people tend to plant negative things, even jokingly. I am somebody, anybody who knows me, a friend of mine recently dubbed me the Queen of Affirmations, and I think I might run with it. But
go ahead on.
Yeah, I might take that crown and go simply because it's it's toxic out here. We say things like, I'll have people give me a compliment. Oh, I love your hair, but I know my hair will never do that. You know, it's too kinky or too whatever. I don't accept those compliments because I will never allow you to build me up while you're tearing yourself down. I can't be a part of that.
A compliment up front on the backhand.
Yeah, and those, I really don't. So you know I'm a Gemini. I really don't take those. You're definitely not going to give me a backhand compliment. Say something that sounds positive and it's negative.
Right.
Oh, I caught
Oxymoronic.
it. Oh, I heard it.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I don't play part in people being negative or down.
And it's so important that you said it, because when it comes to a lot of times our complexion and this, you know, with black people we get into all this stuff about all that crazy stuff. But it's something that's been passed down. So this piece I'd like to share, and I know you got something you want to share.
Yeah, I'm looking for a piece for. You said something about seeds planted. Go ahead.
Yes, chocolate rainbow, shades of black, black, white, brown, red, yellow, and tan. All shades of the rainbow come from the original man. The missing link to what we as the people lack is loving who we are in all shades of black. Mocha, sepia, saber, red bone, cinnamon, mahogany, pearl. Children of the sun living in a color-struck world. Whatever shade of ebony to ivory you might be, black is black. I am you, you are me. You can't possess the soul essence of somebody else. So to love and know who you are is to be yourself. Beyond our shades of sick, color-struck shame, as a people, we are all colored one and the same. The one-drop rule will always undervalue and demean the wannabes, the jigaboos, and every shade in between. Black on black love is so power validation, despite our brown bag, blue vein indoctrination. Intra-race prejudice, preference, and pride are reflections of the past that cannot be denied. As a human rainbow with the wind at our back, the power of self-respect comes in all shades of black. Honey brown, peanut butter, vanilla chocolate, copper tone, cocoa maple, nocturnal rose, raven brick house brownstone. Whatever shade of ebony to ivory you might be, black is black. I am you and you are me. From ruby red brown to black walnut to a black walnut pecan, liver strawberry peach to a beach sand colored tan. The missing link to what we as people lack is loving who we are in all shades of black. Chocolate rainbow, shades of black.
I love that. Yeah, and actually, you know what? That makes me think of this part of the book, because I want to switch the subject a little bit. But the part where I literally talk to the children about loving their skin.
Yes. Share that.
So let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So I said. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So I talked to them about their hair a little bit. So I say, your uniquely beautiful smile, your shapely nose, your sparkly eyes, and each and every strand of hair just the way it naturally grows.
Oh, wow.
Whether silky straight, bushy puffs, stylish braids, bouncy curls, shapely cuts, springy locks, or a nice afro, your hair is a beautiful part of you, so you should love however long or short it grows. Love the beautiful skin you're in because it's yours and it's protection just for you. It soaks in energy from the sun and keeps your bones in tune. So I like that part because recently I was part of a documentary reading, and had a group of young ladies sitting around me, and they're all different shades of brown.
And we come in every shade.
We come in every shade. And it was beautiful because literally I'm reading the book to them, and the little girl sits up and she was like, she looks at her skin, she pauses. So I stop reading and she pauses. She was like, she looked at her skin, and then she looked at the other little girl's skin, and she just starts rubbing her skin.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, well we're going to go with that. So I'm like, yeah, I love your skin. I was like, well, you know, how beautiful is that? So we had a full conversation in the middle of the book about loving our skin, and that's not something that we necessarily have taught children. That brown skin girl song that Beyonce wrote, oh my goodness, when I first heard it, I almost cried. But yeah, I think
I know that piece.
Yeah, she has a song, recently did a song, and I call it the Brown Skin Girl Anthem. And her daughter, Blue Ivy, sings at the end of the song.
Oh, really?
It was neat. The first day, it's a new song. She released it, I think it's on the album called The Gift, from The Lion King. And I had 4 or 5 people, because they know that I mentor girls. They tagged me in the song and sent it to me, like, Asha, you need to hear this, and I'm at work, I wasn't able to listen to it. When I finally got a chance to sit still and listen to it, by the time the baby starts singing, I'm literally in tears, because as someone who pours into children and passionately mentors them and gives them different things, I realize how important it is for them to hear those type of things and hear how much they're loved and how beautiful they are. So I love that.
That's really beautiful. I have a brown skin poem also.
Okay.
But I was also thinking about that song by Brown Skin by India.
Oh, I love that one.
And I love her. I used to love that song. Love that song she did called what's it called, Video?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not the average girl from the video.
Girl. She is. Yeah. I would say it's funny.
Love that
a friend of mine
man.
has a phrase. She'll say somebody's her spirit animal. I don't know what that. I haven't figured out what that means. But I would definitely say that India is probably a parallel, emotionally spiritual parallel. She'll write things that have inspired me to write pieces, to do different things, and I love her. I love her message. I love how she carries herself. Everything about her energy.
So this piece is simply dedicated to all the sisters, regardless of what your shade is, and it's simply entitled "Chocolate City Candy." Just the taste of you makes my life so complete. Learning to love you is a special treat. I messed that up.
Right.
Well, it'll come back to me later. I'll do it later for y'all.
That's all right.
I just got a blank.
Well, it's okay. You were talking about love and brown skin. I have a piece that I called "Not Asking for Much," so I'll do that. So
okay, do that.
It's a little love piece.
Okay.
I want to trust fully, like free falling, like jumping out of an airplane, skydiving, like surgery, full of faith, hoping you know what to do, subconsciously succumb like anesthesia, eyes closed, mind cleared, body surrendered, do what you need to do with me, knowing that sometimes you may know what's best, desiring to make me better, build me stronger, heal me, mend me, and inspire me to my best self. Your intentions are clear. Your plans are not yours. They are ours. For love thinks not of itself. My greatest pleasure is to give fully, freely of myself, withholding nothing as God requires. To rest myself safely in your care, confident that my dreams and desires are nestled safely in yours, choosing to love even your flaws and embrace your past, present, and future self. With no guarantees of what that will be like, your thoughts and wishes are safe with me. For I am a strong woman by circumstance, yet a peaceful and safe place to rest your crown and lay down your armor. I desire with all my heart to have the ability to follow, not because I can't lead, but because I can and choose not to. You make it unnecessary to proclaim my independence, since you are fully surrendered, since I can fully surrender to you and you are fully yielded to God. Really, I'm not asking for much.
Wow, how beautiful. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Wow, so what made you write that?
I had gone through some stuff and
we went through some stuff.
Yeah.
Relationship stuff.
Relationship stuff. And it's interesting because I think people, I have experienced, and I'm choosing my words carefully.
Please do.
That's
hollow ground, girl.
I have, right. No, I agree. And I think that we should at all times. But I have experienced, because I take ownership in it as well. I am a nurturer by nature.
Okay.
So I have a tendency to gravitate to
broken
people. It is. And that's coming out. Okay. I tend to gravitate to broken people. And I also believe that people are reflections of where we are. So anybody that you deal with or you experience one way or another is a reflection of something in you that either you need to work out or they're trying to teach you or they're trying to show you to make you better. And in relationships, I was finding, I'm like, it's hard. Like, I'm not asking for a lot. And I understand. I had the opportunity to see a beautiful marriage. My parents were married forever. Yeah. Wow. And I know what that should look like. And so it was, I'm like, why is it so hard for me to find it out here? So I wrote a poem about it. Yeah, I wrote a poem about it.
Wow, that's beautiful. So this is the piece I'd like to, I've done this piece a million times. I don't know why I keep drawing a blank. Probably because you sat up in
That's
here.
right.
You know, you two
All this
people.
chocolate.
One
All
of them
so one
Gemini.
of us is
One of them
acting.
Gemini was distracted
We over
me.
here acting up. I'm sorry. That's all right.
Chocolate City
You
Candy.
can read with me today because I'm comfortable. I memorized some of my pieces, but I'm more of a writer.
Nice. That's beautiful.
So I don't.
But you know, everybody
necessarily-
has a different approach.
They do,
Yes,
and I
really.
had to get comfortable, even getting comfortable with the fact that I read most of my poems.
No, it's
But
fine.
I do a lot of things outside of poetry. That poetry is just, as a performance, is just starting to take a precedence in some of the
Really?
things that I'm doing. So a lot
So
of
you're
this is
becoming
new
a
to me.
performance
I'm
artist.
becoming, I'm evolving into it. People are pushing me into it more and
Now,
more.
did you ever slam? Did you ever do slams?
No, I've never
I
slammed.
never slammed,
I used
yeah.
to actually what brought me back into poetry is my baby sister,
Okay.
Tabitha, or Tabby. I call her full name. I feel like she's in trouble. She's not in trouble. But yeah, so Tabby was.
Shout out to
and-
Madam Tabby.
Right, to Miss Tabby. So she, at the high school that we both went to, she was a part of a group called Louder Than a Bomb, or she competed in a group called, in a competition in Chicago. It's the first poetry slam for youth.
Oh,
And I think they have it here now, but in Chicago, it was started in Chicago. And she used to compete, and I watched her come out of her shell. I think
Really? On
I've
stage?
always, and not
Wow.
because she's my sister, but just as a person. If she wasn't my sister, I would think she's one of the most beautiful, brilliant people I've
Really?
ever
She's
met.
very talented.
Very
Yeah.
talented.
Wow.
And so to watch her get comfortable in her skin on stage and performing, I used to go to her slams a lot. And so she used to tell me, you should do Brave New Voices. You should do Brave New Voices, and you should compete. I haven't yet. I'm not sure if that's in the cards for me. My daughter is a force to be reckoned with. Shout out to Zen, who's an upcoming poet. But I think she slams.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the slams. I mean, because it's competition, but personally, I don't get it as competition. But I can enjoy it and appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that come out of it, you know,
Yeah.
and it's fun.
Yeah, but I write for the
Yeah.
message. Like a lot of the
Yeah,
times I write
that's
for
me.
me and I happen to share it.
Yeah.
So I had to, I haven't written a piece that's for the audience yet.
Really?
Yeah, everything I write is
Anything
for
I
me.
write is for everybody else.
Yeah, and I write the opposite. So because I learned writing and poetry as therapy.
Oh,
So everything
okay.
I write is something that
So
I
you
need
came
to
in
get
a
out.
different way.
And
Yeah.
so I happen to share it, and sometimes I'll share a piece. That I'll get on stage and somebody will be like, "Oh my goodness, I needed to hear that." So that's
Well-
what makes me continue to share. But
Well, you
other than
know-
that, I'd be content with.
Well, you know, that's interesting because somebody asked me once, well, what's your favorite piece you wrote out of all the pieces you've written over the many years? And only thing I can say is I haven't written it yet.
Got it.
I haven't written it yet.
I got it.
But if I had to choose one,
I
it
agree.
might be this one here.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find my favorite.
Chocolate City Candy. Just a taste of you makes my love so complete. Learning to love you is a special treat. The little loving things you do forever makes your honey sweet. Your good and plenty loving just knocks me off my feet. You're my sugar baby, peppermint patty pearl, my M&M plain, Chocolate City Candy Girl. My lifetime lightsaber, Fifth Avenue, Lovers Lane Park. My buttered fingered, whatchamacallit, such sweetness in the dark. Now and later, you'll always be my Mary Jane, my baby Ruth, my mounds of almond joy, chocolate and sweet tooth. Let me be your payday sugar daddy galore, your 100 grand, Mr. Goodbye for sure. And when you turn on your total Tootsie Roll charms, your chocolate cherry kisses make me melt in your arms. You're my sugar baby, peppermint patty pearl, my M&M plain, Chocolate City Candy Girl.
I like that. I like chocolate.
How's that for a love
I
poem,
like
Asha?
chocolate. I do. I love that, and I
I like
love
chocolate myself.
I hear the shout outs to poem. Actually, one of
Every shade.
in every shade, and I don't even know if I'd be able to find it. But when my son turned 16, I did something similar with.
Wow. So wait a minute. Now you have a
his-
son 16. You
I
have
have a my baby is 21.
Wow.
My baby girl Zen, our Zion, is 21. My son Elijah is 22, and then my bonus baby girl Anika is 23. So my babies are grown.
I ain't trying to get in your business, but I thought you was about maybe like 30.
Thank you. I get good genes. Good
Yeah,
genes.
good genes mean a
Yeah,
lot.
good genes.
Yeah.
The women in my family are. Yeah, they don't.
Y'all age well.
Yeah, you.
I'm good
would
black
know.
don't crack
Black don't
anyway
crack.
now.
Black,
Yeah.
and you know what? And I think peace helps.
Peace.
Black don't crack, but peace of mind helps. And I have a piece that can kind of.
I wrote a poem years ago for a girlfriend of mine. I used to call it "Passport to Peace of Mind."
Oh.
I don't do it no more because she left me.
Oh wow.
Okay, go ahead, sis.
All right, so I call this piece 16 Candles. So I say 16 is not old enough to decide that I was ready to relinquish my future to theirs.
Wow.
To choose their dreams and goals over mine was not what anyone warned me I'd have to do in sex education. They don't teach you the true meaning of emotional exhaustion, mentally drained, and physically tired because there are no words. Never warned me that people will write you off over one decision, that you'll forever be scrutinized because people always do the math when my youth is placed against the maturity of my growing children. They'll always know more about my story than I tell them. Because 30-something is not old enough to help your child prepare for college. And parent-teacher conferences are always a little awkward, whether the teacher is a few years older or several years younger. They silently judge, make predictions about who you are and the potential of your offspring. I am a statistic. I was never warned that once they arrive, I'd never sleep the same again. That peaceful rest is bombarded with necessary tasks and worry that expands exponentially with age. That some days I'd look at them in amazement. And others, I'd stare and ask why I chose their life over mine. When I helped them breathe their first breath, I lost my freedom. Freedom to be selfish, freedom to show my feelings, to act my age, to change my mind, to slow down, to rewind, to experiment, to make mistakes, to try, to not try, to quit. Because freedom is never free, and love is all entangled. This love is overwhelming and floods me to my core. And knowing what I know now,
wow.
I'd have it no other way. Because the good days outweigh the toughest days, and their smiles are CPR for my heart. They keep me moving, driving, helping, coaching, teaching, going, crying, being, thinking, tired, hungry, afraid, hopeful, fearful, angry, motivated, but mostly, like blood does, they keep me alive.
How beautiful. I simply like to say, do it for the children.
Do it for the children.
In the love of every man, woman, boy, and girl, you can find the key to the heart of the world. For each and every one, got to find a better way to do what some say just can't be done. Do it for the children and all that you do and say. Do it for the children. A lifetime of love got to be a better way. Do it for the children. Teach the children the truth. The innocence of a child is a seed of truth for all to see. Teach the children the truth. They're the fruit of the family tree. There's so much that the world needs, but there's just too little love. But all we really got to do is give a little more love. Do it for the children and all that you do and say. Do it for the children. A lifetime of love got to be a better way. Do it for the children. Teach the children the truth. Sister, where can we get your books?
Absolutely. So my books are on Amazon, but you can get them on my website, www.ashawatson.com. And I do vending events and different things in the area, working to get the books in local bookstores, and I love that piece because that's actually of everything that sums up how I live my life. That's actually
this piece.
That
wait till you hear the
sums up
song
how I
we're
live
about to
my
put
life.
up.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
I'm also a
interested.
musician, and so we wrote music. I wrote this piece. I don't know when I wrote this piece. Oh, 95. Ooh, wow, I was a baby. Yeah, I wrote this in 95, so I've just written music to it about a year ago, and it's going to be out soon. And so the young lady that sang it, absolutely beautiful, beautiful voice. And it's called Do It for the Children. Yeah, and the inspiration came from that old song by Whitney Houston.
Yes.
I believe the children are the future.
That's one of my theme songs. I
That's
listen
where
to
the
that
inspiration
regularly.
came from.
I listen to that regularly, and that's
Really?
what it really is. What keeps me going.
Wow,
I have
that's
a
so beautiful.
mentoring group called Beauty Time that we meet the first Monday of every month in Manassas.
Now we're gonna have you back because I want you to read that piece next time.
Yeah.
On your mom, because I know the time is short right now. But I thank you for coming and
Thank
sharing
you
with
for
us.
having me.
And we're always looking for good poets and good writers all the
Absolutely.
time. So I
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me. It was an honor to
Asha,
be here. Thank you.
for coming, my sister. This is Danny Queen's Color Me Poetry. And until next time, color me poetry. Love, peace, and poetry. That's what we say here on Color Me Poetry. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Poet Danny Queen.